In the heart of a city where darkness ruled every street and every shadow hid a secret, the Mafia thrived. Their power was absolute, their cruelty unmatched. People whispered about them in fear, speaking their names only in silence. They did not just kill, they harvested. Human bodies were dissected and sold, organ by organ, to the highest bidder. Families vanished, children disappeared, and the streets ran with quiet terror. No one dared to interfere, for the price of defiance was death, and death was never quick. Amid this chaos, a figure emerged. No one knew his name, no one knew his past. Only the mask he wore, smooth, featureless, blank. A faceless void that stared into the soul of anyone unfortunate enough to meet it. They called him the Faceless Killer. The people whispered his name like a curse, the Mafia cursed it like a nightmare. To them, he was a phantom, to the victims, he was vengeance incarnate. It began when they captured her. She was only one of many, but to him, she was everything left in his world. They carved her body, stripped her of life and humanity, and left her in the freezing river. When he found her, he did not cry. His heart had already died. From that night onward, there was no mercy, no hesitation, only the relentless pursuit of those who deserved punishment. The first strike was brutal. A warehouse filled with stolen organs and kidnapped victims exploded in fire. Flames devoured the building as screams pierced the night. Mafia soldiers fell, their blood painting the walls, and in the morning, only ash remained. The city awoke to horror. On the walls, written in crimson, organ for organ. Life for life. The message was clear, the Faceless Killer had arrived, and he would not stop. The Mafia boss, known as the Surgeon, had built his empire meticulously, using knives and scalpels as instruments of terror. He sent his most loyal soldiers, elite assassins, and hired killers after the Faceless Killer, believing that sheer force could destroy him. But they returned in pieces or not at all. The Faceless Killer moved like a shadow, striking silently and disappearing before anyone could react. He was not just strong, he was patient, calculating, unstoppable. The city became a battlefield. Streets that were once filled with life now echoed with gunfire and screams. Cars exploded, safe houses burned, and each night brought a new horror. The people, once cowering in fear, began to watch in awe as the Faceless Killer dismantled the Mafia piece by piece. To them, he was no longer a murderer, he was a savior, a symbol of vengeance that the city had longed for. One night, the Faceless Killer infiltrated a black market organ trade facility. Guards were armed, dogs were trained to attack, alarms blared. Yet he moved like a shadow, taking them out silently, one by one. Each corpse left a mark, a bloodied signature of his vengeance. When he reached the inner chamber, rows of stolen organs were stored in ice. He left them untouched, but in the center, he placed a note in red letters, "This is only the beginning." The Mafia grew desperate. The surgeon called an emergency meeting, his inner circle trembling. "He is not human," one of them whispered. "We cannot touch him." But the surgeon's pride demanded action. He planned traps, hired foreign assassins, and even tried to turn other criminals against the Faceless Killer. Each plan failed. Each failure left more bodies, more chaos, and more fear. Days merged into nights without end. The Faceless Killer's legend grew. People began to leave notes for him. Hints about the Mafia's movements, the locations of secret warehouses, even tips about which soldiers were corrupt. He became a ghost, yet a force that moved with precision, striking without warning. The Mafia began to fear the streets themselves, unsure whether a shadow or a man was coming to claim their lives. Then came the final assault. A skyscraper at the city's heart, home to the surgeon and his most loyal guards, stood as the last symbol of the Mafia empire. Rain poured, lightning split the sky, and thunder drowned the city's chaos. The Faceless Killer approached, silent as the storm itself. Every guard was armed, every window watched, yet he moved like the wind, a phantom passing through metal and flesh alike. Inside, the surgeon waited with scalpel in hand, surrounded by jars filled with human organs, trophies of his reign. Sweat dripped from his face, and for the first time, he felt fear. The faceless killer entered without a sound, his mask reflecting the dim light of the room. The surgeon lunged, but before the scalpel could strike, the faceless killer was already upon him. Guards fell one by one, screams echoing, until silence reclaimed the skyscraper. By dawn, the building burned, fire devouring the empire of blood. The surgeon was gone. The Mafia's black market collapsed. The city awoke to a terrifying freedom, streets silent yet alive. Yet the faceless killer did not remain to witness the aftermath. He vanished, leaving behind only legend, only fear, only the promise that any monster who dared rise again would meet the same fate, and so the city remembered, whispered, feared, and revered him. For somewhere in the shadows, the faceless killer still walked, watching, waiting, ensuring that no evil would ever rise unchecked. His war was never over, his mask never empty, and his vengeance never satisfied.